Hi, this is a guide on how to install Final Fantasy XIV on a Steam Deck. Steam currently has Final Fantasy XIV listed as an unsupported title, when in actuality the game can run just fine on a Linux machine. So I thought I'd make this guide to show you as easy as it is possible for me to show you, because I don't have a Steam Deck yet, how to install the game on your system so you can enjoy Final Fantasy XIV from home. And not just that, also be able to enjoy Final Fantasy XIV with all of the plugins and mods that you're used to using, perhaps on the Windows version. Firstly, you'll want to go into desktop mode and open up your terminal. If you haven't already, you should also run this command, which basically disables the read-only mode on the Steam OS and allows you to install applications such as those needed to install Final Fantasy XIV. So what you want to do is run this command. You want to put in your password, and this is just a base install of KDE, but you should be able to execute that command. And then what you'll want to do is run this command. So what this does is, pacman is the package manager for Arch Linux, and what this does is this command basically updates everything that's on your computer at the moment, and as well as updates the information as to what packages are available. So you'll run that command. It'll synchronize all the packages. The next command you will want to run is this command, and what this command does, it installs an application called lutris that makes it very easy to install Final Fantasy XIV. So you'll want to run this. These are all the dependencies required for lutris up above. So you just want to press Y and then it'll download and install the application, along with all of the dependencies. Okay, now that it's installed, what you'll want to do is install a few more other dependencies if they aren't already installed on your Steam Deck, such as VKD3D. You want to install that. What this does is allows you to translate, allows Final Fantasy XIV to translate from DirectX to Vulkan, which can work on a Linux machine. Next, you'll want to open lutris. Click on lutris here. Click on Community Installers here, and then search for Final Fantasy XIV. Now the specific one you'll want to pick out of these many options is this one right here, Final Fantasy XIV Online, and click Install. Now what you'll want to do is scroll down in the options for the different kinds of installs you can have, and you'll want this one, the XIV Launcher. This is very useful because it doesn't it's a third-party, I guess, open source launcher that kind of has a lot of support for Linux, whereas the official version, even the launcher currently doesn't work for Linux, which is why on Steam the app Final Fantasy XIV is listed as unplayable. It'll give you install directory. Okay, hit OK, and then it'll install Wine on your system here. And now it'll give you a prompt to install the XIV Launcher. And it'll complete the install. You'll want to install Wine Mono as well. So that's the most I could do with running a virtual machine. So I'll continue the rest of the guide through my own computer. So by the end of that, 14 launcher will have been installed on your computer. You should be able to simply double click it. And that's what will happen once you click in log in automatically. What will happen is you'll get a screen asking you to set the folder your game is installed in. You don't have to worry too much about that because you should probably just set it to whatever it tells you, the C/program files /Square Enix or whatever. Because the interesting feature about this launcher is it can actually install the entire game for you. And so it should be able to, after you set that folder, download the entire game. After which, you should be able to simply log in and play Final Fantasy XIV. One final note, to be able to start Final Fantasy, 14 launcher from the Steam Deck, as opposed to from the desktop mode, what you'll want to do is ensure that there's a desktop shortcut for your lutris install of Final Fantasy XIV. You can either do that at the end of your install. It gives you lutris gives you an option to do that, or you can right-click on Final Fantasy XIV Online and click create desktop shortcut. It says delete because I already have one. Then what you want to do is in your Steam install on desktop mode, you'll want to click on add a non-Steam game to my library, and it'll populate a list of all of the applications on your computer, including ones on your desktop. So you'll want to find Final Fantasy XIV Online, click that, add selected programs, and you'll see it's added as a shortcut. And if I go into properties, I can see that it's lutris right here that's being started. My lutris install of Final Fantasy XIV Online. And so when you go back into the Steam OS, Final Fantasy XIV on this shortcut should be available for you to play Final Fantasy XIV Online from the Steam Deck OS as opposed to only from the desktop mode. Thanks. And if you have any problems, leave a comment and I'll get to them as soon as possible. I would also recommend checking out protondb.com as well as the Linux gaming subreddit for some help if you have any problems performing this.